Have you ever stood in a crowded room and still felt completely alone? Or woken up to a quiet house, wondering if anyone would notice if you didn't leave your chair all day? If that sounds familiar, you're not the only one. Let me tell you a story about my neighbor, Margaret. She's 72, sharp as a tack, and bakes the best apple pie on the block. But last year, after her husband passed, she told me, "I feel invisible, like the world's moved on without me." That stuck with me, because here's the truth. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a silent threat to our health. Studies show it's as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day 9. But here's the good news. You can rebuild connection even if you're starting from scratch. Today, we're diving into 6 surprising ways to create meaningful relationships after 70. No social media, no apps, just real human connection. Let's start with the first idea. Volunteer your way into community. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm retired, I don't need another job. But volunteering isn't about work, it's about purpose. Margaret started serving meals at a community kitchen twice a week. Within a month, she wasn't just dishing out soup. She was swapping recipes with regulars, laughing with the staff, and even mentoring a young single mom who reminded her of her own daughter. It's science too. Helping others releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which fights loneliness 9. The key is to pick something you genuinely care about. Love books? Help at the library? Were you a teacher? Tutor kids after school? Start small. Even an hour a week can spark friendships. Now let's talk about reconnecting with old friends. Think about the people who knew you before your hair turned gray. The coworker you shared lunch with. The neighbor who watched your dog when you traveled. Life gets busy, but those bonds don't just disappear. A few months ago, I dug out my old address book. Yes, the paper one. And called my college roommate. We hadn't spoken in 20 years. You know what? We now Zoom every Sunday. It's like no time passed. Here's your action step. Write down 3 names of people you miss. Send a card, make a call, or invite them for coffee. Don't overthink it, just reach out. Which brings me to community gardens, a hidden gem for connection. Picture this. You're digging in the soil, swapping stories with someone 2 plots over. You talk about tomatoes, then grandchildren, then life. Before you know it, you're sharing harvests and holiday meals. Gardening gets you outside, moving your body, and meeting people who share your interests. Plus, studies show gardening reduces stress and boosts mood 6. If you're not a green thumb, no problem. Many communities have beginner plots or workshops. Or start small. Join a farmer's market group or a walking club. The goal isn't to make best friends overnight, it's to plant seeds of connection. Now, let's address something important. Building relationships takes courage, especially if you felt isolated for a while. Maybe you're thinking, what if they don't like me? Or, I'm too old to start over. Let me share a secret. People crave connection at every age. That woman sitting alone at the library? She might be waiting for someone to say hello. The man walking his dog in the park? He'd probably love to chat about his grandkids. Start with a smile, a compliment, or a question. That's a beautiful scarf. Where'd you find it? Or, your dog's so friendly. What's his name? Small talk can lead to big friendships. Now that we've covered volunteering, reconnecting, and community spaces, let's move to the next strategy. One that's surprisingly powerful but often overlooked. Let's talk about active adult communities. Now, I'm not suggesting you pack up and move. These aren't just retirement homes, they're neighborhoods designed for people like us. Imagine book clubs, pickleball tournaments, and potluck dinners right down the street. My friend Harold joined one last year. He thought it'd be boring, but now he's the unofficial trivia night champion and organizes weekly fishing trips. The beauty of these communities, everyone's in the same stage of life, so there's no pressure to keep up with younger crowds. Look for local groups online or through your library. Many host free events to meet members 6. Which brings me to group classes. Ever tried watercolor painting or salsa dancing? Learning something new with others is a double win. You gain skills and friends. Take Eleanor, a viewer who emailed me after my last video. She signed up for a beginner's cooking class and now hosts monthly dinners with her classmates. They've swapped recipes, shared stories about grandkids, and even started a walking group. The key is consistency. Pick something you enjoy. Yoga, woodworking, writing, and commit to a short-term session. By week 3, those strangers become familiar faces. 5. Now, let's get creative. Have you considered intergenerational activities? I know. Kids these days can seem intimidating. But here's a secret. They're just as curious about us as we are about them. Last fall, I tutored a teenager in baking. She taught me TikTok trends. I taught her how to make my famous lemon bars. We still text weekly. Schools, libraries, and churches often need mentors for kids or tech helpers for seniors. These relationships defy age gaps and remind us that connection isn't limited by generations 9. Building relationships takes time, and that's okay. Maybe you'll join a class and feel awkward at first. Maybe a volunteer gig won't click. That's part of the process. Think of it like gardening. Some seeds sprout quickly, others take months. The important thing is to keep showing up. And speaking of showing up, let's talk about one of the most overlooked ways to combat loneliness. Let's circle back to where we began, with Margaret, the neighbor who felt invisible. After she started volunteering, reconnecting with old friends, and joining that community garden, something shifted. She told me, "I didn't realize how much I'd missed feeling needed." That's the power of connection. It's not just about filling time, it's about rediscovering your place in the world. But there's one more strategy I want to share, and it's perhaps the simplest. Embrace everyday moments to connect. Think about your daily routines. The mail carrier who knows your face, the librarian who saves your favorite mysteries, the barista who remembers your order. These interactions might seem small, but they add up. Research shows even brief positive exchanges with strangers can boost mood and reduce loneliness 7. So next time you're at the store, ask the cashier how their day's going. Compliment someone's hat. Share a joke with the dog walker. You never know who might become a familiar face or a friend. Now, let's talk about reflecting and celebrating your story. Many of us downplay our experiences. "Oh, those stories are too old-fashioned," or "no one wants to hear about my past." But your life is a treasure trove of wisdom. Start a journal, record voice memos, or join a storytelling group. Last year, I met a woman who shared tales of her nursing career at a local history event. People were captivated. She's now mentoring new nurses and speaking at schools. Your story matters, and sharing it can bridge generations 9. Finally, let's not forget the power of movement. Activities like walking groups do more than keep your body strong. They create camaraderie. Studies show seniors who walk regularly with others report lower stress and stronger social bonds. 6. It's not about speed or distance. It's about enjoying fresh air and conversation. If walking isn't your thing, try chair yoga, dance classes, or even mall walking clubs. The goal is to move your body and connect with others. So there you have it, 6 ways to rebuild connection after 70. Let's recap. Volunteer your time. Reconnect with old friends. Join a community garden. Explore active adult communities. Learn in group classes. Embrace intergenerational activities. And don't forget the small acts. Smiling at strangers, sharing your story, and moving with others. I know it's not always easy. Some days putting on a smile feels heavy. But remember, loneliness thrives in silence. The more you reach out, the lighter that weight becomes. And you're not alone in this. Thousands of people your age are craving connection too. If this video resonated with you, share your story in the comments. What's one way you'll try to connect this week? Maybe you'll call an old friend, sign up for a class, or simply say hello to a neighbor. Every step counts. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're building a community here, one conversation at a time. And if you know someone who needs this message, share it. Together, we can rewrite the story of aging from isolation to connection. Here's to living fully, loving deeply, and finding joy in the company of others. No matter your age, it's never too late to build a life filled with meaning. See you next time.